In Unit 1, you gave a presentation on your informative research paper. Now you're going to give a presentation on your argumentative research paper. And although it is still a presentation, argument differs from informative, obviously, as you learn throughout the course in a number of ways, most especially in you are trying to persuade your audience. So let's look at how you can do that through the online presentation. Consider the following 3 points: pathos, ethos, and logos as you're putting together your presentation. I'm going to let pathos speak for itself. So if you were doing a presentation on the death penalty, pathos is that emotional side that you kind of reach out to people with. This image kind of speaks for itself. If you present this and you ask people, which box would you check, yes or no? Could you pull the switch? If you were doing your argumentative research paper on abortion and now you're giving the presentation, no words need to be spoken over a slide that has this image. Or maybe you're doing texting and driving and taking a side and using this image to say, is it really worth that text? So as we can see, pathos is how you're going to grab your audience attention through emotional appeals. And remember, argument is about appealing to your audience and trying to persuade them to come to your side. Next is ethos. This is what signifies to the audience that you know what you're talking about. You're going to cite sources here, and you're going to use evidence from credible sources, which you can pull from your research paper. This is where those facts and statistics come in. So what can you use to show your credibility as a presenter? Well, you're going to, just like you did in your paper, present both sides of the argument, your side as well as the counter claim, or the side that's either for or against what you say. And you're going to also make sure that you give some refutations or rebuttals in your presentation. The nature of the presentation follows closely to the structure of the argument research paper. Know your audience. You might need to define terms for people. You also have to understand that you may be doing a presentation on an argument topic that you feel strongly about. Remember, the person watching your presentation may feel strongly on the other side. No name calling should be done here. Calling people stupid for not believing that, restricting gun laws is a good idea or that abortion is bad. You don't know who's watching your presentation, so consider that as you put it together. Cite credible sources. Use the sources that you just had in your research paper when you're working on your presentation. And then there's logos. This is the logical appeal. So where we go through emotion and then we go through the ethos and we go through the credibility, what's going to set you apart as showing yourself as a person who's able to reason with others who don't agree with you? What kind of logical appeals can you use, and how can you use them effectively? Don't just use a fact or a number simply because it's a fact or a number. It should provide a foundation for your argument. So it could be a support. So if you used a graphic or chart or statistical number to show a trend for your topic or an increase or decrease, you can use that same graphic in your presentation, but use it as a foundation in which to build your argument from. Use a fact or event that can be compared to the current subject to prove its logic. So maybe there's something currently that's going on and you want to prove its logic in terms of your argument. And finally, give the audience a tangible comparison. So maybe you compare it to something that a wider audience would know. It's hard to argue with sound logic. What works for you? Would it be best to start with the pathos, or would it be best to end with that? Would it be good to use the ethos first and end with logic? That's really up to the presenter. What works for you and your topic? How do you want to structure the presentation? Remember, you're trying to come across as a reasonably logical person who's willing to listen to other sides, but maybe even to be told that, oh, your side isn't as strong as you think, but we can always still agree to disagree.